morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? 6:10 in the morning, Monday, West Coast time, October 21st, 2024. Uh, griping and grumbling, Weaver, Johnsey, Roseman, California. Huh? Well, I've got stuff I'm trying to download from a past couple of days and trying to get that organized and put into the system. Yesterday, while I was trying to avoid the regular news and hearing about Donald Trump and going off on the mouth concerning about Arnold Palmer, I didn't really want to hear about the bastard. And then there was Kamala Harris celebrating her 60th. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday, Madam Vice President. Battling it out with my phone yesterday. Every once in a while, my phone would get this issue concerning about the SD card in it. Stops working for whatever reason. So, off and on, pop the thing in, pop it out, trying to check to see if the disk's working or not, and the drive is still working. And I couldn't really use the phone except maybe for communications and surfing, but if I wanted to collect any information like I normally would, like an interesting picture, I would store it, or if I needed to do any voice recordings, I would do it. Problem is, I didn't have the room for it because the SD card wasn't working. So last night before going to bed, I just wanted to check it one more time to hope that maybe there was a miracle, and lo and behold, it was working. So I'm like, okay, now I can sleep for a few hours. Get up, try to get the information necessary out there to tell people what's going on certain things. Missed out on the game entirely yesterday. I understand there was a boys in blue situation here, that these guys actually got to the World Series level. Took them long enough. Mighty Mets go down again. But, it would have been interesting. It would have been interesting to see the Battle of New York. It would have been. I am a Dodger fan, yes. But it would have been interesting to see the Mets versus Yanks. Now, back in '89, we actually had it on the West Coast, where we actually had a baseball team that actually was in a town called Oakland, battling another baseball team out in the city of San Francisco. And during that time in 1989, they were hammering it out left and right. Well, during the series, Mother Nature decided to put a halt on the game for a few. I mean, this was going back and forth between Oakland Athletics versus San Francisco Giants. This was cool. This was going back and forth on this one. And then we get the blackout. We get the we get the television interruptions, the bars, single cut off, and people are scratching their heads. What's going on? People outside of the news organizations watching this game, they're scratching their heads. They're also wondering what the hell went on. Well, during that time in 1989, when they were having the World Series in October, they actually had an earthquake. A major one. Did a lot of damage. The more damage there was in places, they called it the San Francisco earthquake. Yeah. It was in the area of it, but there was a lot of damage that they called it. But that was the only time I actually remember seeing a World Series being interrupted by an earthquake, and everyone else is having a conniption fit in Southern California over the damn thing. Scared the hell out of us. And then the news reports started filtering in, and then we're watching the rest of it. And we're seeing how San Francisco had portions of it, major portions of it, devastated. Took him a long while to recover. Several months after that, my brother and I had went out to Frisco, not just to check out the town, but for a 12-step convention with a friend of ours. We were going to be meeting her over there, and we did. We met her over at the convention. We met her at the same hotel that they were having the convention in. But we were going to see the town. And in our travels from the airport to the hotel, we saw Bay Bridge still collapsed. There was issues on Oakland. Went to Burlingame. We didn't see that much damage. At least the hotel was still working. And it wasn't showing that much damage. At least not that I recall. It scared me. It did. Seeing Mother Nature can be that vicious sometimes, and the recovery of it was just overwhelming. But my brother and I actually did enjoy the town. Went back home with stories. I wish we had a camera to take a lot of pictures. That's the thing I wish we had. And we didn't. At least not enough of them anyway. But seeing the games being played, I keep expecting one time there is going to be Battle of New York. You have American and you have National Leagues in different cities. Sometimes they're split. And LA and New York were big enough to have two. Since New York had lost their National League team to Los Angeles and had to recreate their own. They had the Yankees and they had the Mets. And it would be something to see the Yankees and Mets go head to head with each other. It would be. Much like it would be something for us to see in our freeway series, LA going after I still call them the California Angels, but they're still the Angels. Angels of Anaheim. They're not connected to Los Angeles, so I can't call them that. Anaheim Angels, I can call them that. So that's what I call them. Either California Angels, old terminology, or new. But we do the freeway series. But it would have been something to see in the West Coast as well. Dodgers actually going after the Angels. We're rivals, but we're also fans of each other. So now we got to deal with this one. And yes, I do have I still have clothing for the Dodgers. I just haven't worn them yet. I had this thing about it. I mean, if I'm not wearing them, they may get lucky. But then again, I know superstition as it is. If I start wearing it, are they going to lose the games? I'll worry about that one. I'm hoping not. Because I'm hoping to see some good stuff coming out of the World Series. Maybe the Dodgers will win. Maybe the Dodgers will lose. I hope not. I mean, me being a root for the team, for rooting for the Dodgers, I want to see them win. I do. But it would have been interesting to see New York going after each other. I mean, if the Mets had won last night, and the Yankees had already won, that would have been a perfect freeway East Coast series. Unfortunately, the Angels didn't build up to the point where they could have gone to the American League. If they had gone to the American League and the Dodgers already get it, we're talking a freeway series to watch. So far, the tickets don't even ask the prices. They're out there. They're way up there. You're better off watching them on the television and seeing what's going on. But I'll tell you one thing: when we had the COVID nightmare for the past few years, when we actually had it going on from between 2019 through 2021, we had a season or two where we're the fans. You couldn't play the baseball game without fans, but they tried. It just wasn't the same. And then when the baseball came back with a rush, it was like missing out on part of your life that could have been special. And I probably did miss out something on life, but I'm like, this is only baseball. I woke up this morning saying, I could berate myself like crazy. I was still more concerned about the computer operations than I was about the game. If the Dodgers won, they won. And if they didn't, well, we would hear the commiseration left and right. But as it turned out, last night we actually had our streets in East LA torn apart again. Took LA Sheriff to come out to restore a little calm and order and a lot of tear gas. It's getting crazier and crazier. I We're going to get our place destroyed by our lunatic out there if we win, or they're going to say when we win. I'm saying if we win the World Series. Now we're playing against the Yanks. Now we're going Yankees. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.